Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's podcast entitled Legal Tech's Leading Edge, How Next-Gen CLM Technology is Transforming Legal Ops. I'm Hiro Notaney, Chief Marketing Officer at Syrian Labs. Joining me today is Michael Carter, who is a VP and leader in our solutions engineering team. Michael has over 25 years of experience as a solutions consultant and pre-sales expert at companies like Oracle, Salesforce, and Conga. His knowledge of enterprise software systems and CLM in particular is unmatched, so you're in for a treat in his demo. First, a quick overview of what's in store today. Over the next 25 minutes or so, we'll talk about how CLM technology is transforming legal operations and shaping legal strategies, what to look for in a CLM platform that's built for legal teams, and see what a best-in-class CLM looks like in action in Michael's live demo. First, a little bit about SirionOne. We are a market-leading full-service provider of CLM software. We've been around for about 10 years. We have about 250 mostly enterprise customers, people like Vodafone, Morgan Stanley, Unilever, Qantas is on this slide. We are recognized by leading analysts as a leader in the CLM space. Gartner just named us a leader in its recently published Magic Quadrant for CLM software. If I were to articulate what differentiates us from the other players in CLM, I would say first, our post-award contract performance management capabilities. Basically, this is ensuring that you get the value promised in your contract. Second, how well our purpose-built AI works, especially in auto extraction of data, which is at the heart of legacy contract migration. This is a critical but often taken for granted step, especially for enterprises. And then third, from an enterprise perspective, we offer the most comprehensive end-to-end functional coverage for CLM. So not just legal, but procurement to sales, to HR, and across the full lifecycle from contract authoring to performance management. To set the stage for Michael's demo of what a modern CLM platform looks like, it should include three main components. First, a digital repository to store all your contracts in one place and enable you to extract and slice and dice the data in your contracts in multiple ways. So you should be able to get aggregate analytics like overall risk profile for your company or metrics around a specific risk factor like force majeure. Second, robust and customizable workflows that take the friction out of the contracting process. Rather than making legal professionals review every line of a contract, it should automatically surface and flag risky and out of compliance clauses, for example. It should also automate workflows like approvals. And then strong performance management capabilities that ensure you're getting the value you've been promised in the contract. This is an operational benefit, but it does relieve the legal department from having to take remedial action. Okay, now I'd like to invite Michael for the live demo part to show what a best-in-class CLM system looks like in action. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Hiro. We're going to take a few minutes to do a quick overview of the SirionOne Contract Lifecycle Management or CLM application. As you can see, we are software as a service, multi-tenant. So a browser just simply to get to the application. So let's go ahead and kick it off. On the left-hand side is our pieces of functionality that I just mentioned. You'll see home reports, of course, and of course the home page you see analytics. These are just companies that you're dealing with, whether counterparties or suppliers. This is our authoring area, contract request. We'll do that first. This is the repository where all the contracts reside, and of course performance, which is where the obligations sit also. Everything that you're going to see today is available via analytics, dashboards, and reports. And you'll see I have a real quick one up here on the screen. You'll see things such as contracts under negotiation, the number of open ones, some recently searched items. Also things such as What agreement types with the higher deviations? And as you can see, I made them for sales operations, legal, and contracts ops. And you can create your own. So just looking up here on the right-hand side, you'll see create dashboard and add widgets. So you have the ability to create your own specific dashboards for what you do. Search sits here also. All active contracts are indexed and completely searchable. So you can search for any piece of information to find out exactly what's going on in those contracts. Now let's go ahead and kick this off. On the left-hand side, you'll see authoring. I talked about contract requests being the beginning area. I get a nice list of the contracts that I have in the system. I'm just going to simply hit lightning bolt or raise a request, and we're going to do a contract intake form. So simply hit create contract request, and we'll get a form. Now I'm using our brand new user interface here. We just came out with this, so you'll see just a couple of questions. What are we going to call this? I'm just going to call this, overview MSA and give it a name. What type of agreement it is, and based on what I select here, the rest of the field populates, and I have to fill in that information. Who am I going to negotiate? Let's use Amazon today. We'll use our paper, and I'm going to be Acme Inc. as my contracting entity, and simply hit submit request. So if I'm a casual user, if I'm just in an intake form or requester, I am done. I don't have to do anything else. This could be moved on to legal or someone else. And then the next step begins. And the next step is always sitting right up here and the workflow button. And these customized or configured workflows will be your terminology and your steps within your organization. My step, of course, is generate the document itself. That could have automatically been done, or in this case, I do it because I want to show you that we have a package. So I'm generating 1, 2, 3 different documents here at the same time, all with inserting data or tags in them. And you'll see a visual of the document there itself. Once I hit save, we're going to completely save these 3 contract documents, put them right back on my contract request, and we're going to continue with the workflow. Now, my workflow will move along, and the next step is going to be collaborate. Now, for the sake of the demo, I want to point out that my workflow allows me to do collaborate, but there's also an arrow here, which means I have alternative things I can do. I can actually go ahead and say, well, let's go ahead and just send it to the counterpart. And I do that, it's going to say, who do you want to send it to? And what documents do you want to send? So I'm going to simply search for Bob. I can send them all. And let's ask him to review it. Simply hit share. It's going to push this document out to Bob via email. And then he will be able to download the document using our secure web space and upload the document back. Now, I've already simulated that. You'll see I have version 1.0s all here. If I go ahead and move this a little forward, you'll see that I have one here that Bob's already uploaded his document. I've got a notification, and we're 1.1. So Bob just modified the master supply agreement. Now, also notice I have deviations. It's got a big red deviation here, and I'm missing some clauses. But by the way, it's also telling me that I have a similar contract, and we actually have an issue in here. So we have the ability to actually see what's going post signature because we have an issue down here about something in this contract. As we come here, I know there's 8 deviations. All I have to do is hit contract clauses, and it will tell exactly what's going on. Here's the 8. If I filter this down, there are the 8. Now I have 2 different things here. The first one is a word deviation. This is a simple count of the modified clauses and the words in those that came back from Bob. We also have a contextual deviation, and this is our auto intelligence engine who's looking at the clause and saying, what's the intent of this clause and how much is it varied? You'll see that, we have quite a high variation here in the suspension area. I can go ahead and hit submit counterparty red lines. And what that's now going to do is take all of these clauses and put it into our clause analysis approval workflow. And it can separate this out and ask different people within my organization for their approvals. So you'll see in this case, I have 2 of them. It's pushed them both to me, of course, for demo cases, but this could have gone, the termination clause could have gone to legal, dispute resolution could have gone to finance, and we're asking them to review these. There's an editor here, they can make changes, or you know what, maybe I want to review this one and just reject it all. As it comes up, you'll see that I have the ability to edit the document. You'll see edit right here, or just say no, and I push it back to the original version. Now, we also have the ability to actually take the document and put it into Microsoft Word and make all the red lines that you want to make in this specific document, and then push it right back into the Syrian solution using that plugin itself. And this review can continue as you're moving through the process. We can get approvals, we can move this contract request throughout multiple organizations. And then, of course, I want to point out that we also have the ability to do audit approval. So based on the word deviation and the contextual deviation, our engines automatically said, we're going to let this go through. So whenever we're done, maybe we pushed out for a signature and it's all signed. We then move into the next step of our product, the ability to get the documents into the system itself. So whether it be in third-party paper or the mass load of the documents into the system, we can analyze these documents and come up with specific pieces of information. You can simply hit upload documents, select a group, and upload those documents. So I'm going to hit upload. Now I could do a folder or I could do a specific document. If I simply hit upload, we go ahead and grab a document that's sitting out here. And I'm going to go ahead and allow duplicates, and we're going to grab a couple items here and hit done. So this could be one document, it could be hundreds, it can be thousands of documents. It could even be folders within folders. We will go through, we'll look at those documents, make sure that they're OCRable. We'll digitize those. We'll start to pull out obligations, we'll pull out metadata, and we'll pull out other items. Let's go ahead and take a look at one that I did a few minutes ago. As I drill into this one, you'll see all the things that we've pulled out. So first of all, you'll see we found 21 metadata fields. So our engine has gone through this document and searched and found 21 different fields. So if you look for things like expiration date, well, it's 5 years, and there's the date itself. So if it's written, we translate that into the transformed text. You'll see governing law sits down here also, the laws and states of New York. We can also pull out the clauses. Here are all the clauses. We have data protection, confidentiality, code of business, and we can pull out obligations. So these are all the types of things that we're extracting from the contracts that you may have generated in the past that have been pulled into the system itself. Now, this same engine gets used in third-party paper. Now, I started out with contract request. I want to point out that if you come here and you see third-party paper, all you have to do is when you change it and you say it's an external party paper and you drag and drop the third-party paper into the system, we use the same engine. So if I simply took that same document and put it into a third-party paper, you'll see extract and extract. And now when I submit that, it's going to put it right back into the same engine you saw that we did. So one engine for third-party paper, one engine for legacy. And just to give you a peek, I did one a few minutes ago, and you'll see that it actually comes up with all the deviations and everything, and it's comparing it to a standard contract that you have and letting you know right off the bat, hey, this varies in negotiation. So hopefully you have an idea of the SirionOne application, that we have contract request, ability to do intake form, complete analytics, AI helped negotiation with looking at clause deviations. We have post-signature or post-award with the ability to pull out these obligations and help you monitor them, pull out service levels, help you monitor those. And then, of course, the digitization, which gets all of that information into the system itself, makes it indexable, searchable, and actionable. Let's go ahead and go over to CB Technologies here. And whenever you get into the repository, you'll see that there is a complete tree that sits right here of all the contracts that I want to see. If I open this up, you'll see not only do I have my documents, products and services, I can have sub areas of folders of documents. I can even attach Excel documents and PowerPoint presentations under here. Each one of these will actually have the statements of work. I have exhibits. I even have amendments if I want to see any of that information. Now, as all these documents have come in, we've started to analyze these, and we've pulled out obligations and we pulled out service levels. So once obligations get put into the system and scheduled, because obligations can be, if you notice on the right, they can be once a year, they could be monthly, they can be a one-time, they could be weekly even. And we monitor those. So you'll see that not only do I have red and green down here, red means that this obligation was not met, Green means it is. Now, an obligation is something that's a kind of a yes and no. Maybe yearly they have to provide me a certificate of insurance. So I would have a scheduled obligation once a year, and we would have to go through and verify that. So I can now monitor and manage all of these with dashboards and reports and make sure my customers, clients, or suppliers are meeting the obligations that we've got in the contract. If I move to service levels, very similar to obligations with the exception that there's data behind each one of these. So what happens is maybe the data is sent to me or it's uploaded into the system automatically. We calculate the numbers and then we come up with, did you meet expectations? Did you barely meet? Or you know what, maybe it turns red, means you did not meet them. In each case, we can then take that and maybe come up with some financial numbers. Well, maybe you didn't meet it this month. And of course, you may owe me money if in fact you're maybe answering the phone for me in a call center or whatever that might be. So that is obligations and service levels on the post-award or post-signature area.
Michael, thank you for that insightful demo. We do have a couple of minutes for questions. The first question is, there's a lot of hype around AI and CLM. How should we distinguish the hype from what a CLM system can actually deliver today? Great question. Michael?
Thank you for that question, Hiro. AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning have tended to be the buzzwords now in contract lifecycle management or CLM industry today. I think there's a few items you need to think about as you're talking to the vendors. The first is that an add-on functionality or is it core within the organization? So here at SirionLabs, it is absolutely built into the platform and the fiber of what we do day in and day out. It is used for legacy document ingestion for pulling out metadata and clauses. It's used for third-party paper negotiation for doing the same types of things so that you know what you're negotiating. While you may read the contract, we're already looking for that information for you to give you a heads up on where it is. And on contracts as you're negotiating on the deviations of it, not just a word count, but also a contextual count, because the word not in a severability clause can drastically change the meaning of that. The next thing is, the models themselves. Do you have models already built? We at SirionLabs have a COE of lawyers who are training our models day in and day out. We get publicly available legal documents and we have these trained, and every day they're learning and expanding. We have hundreds of clauses and metadata fields are already trained. So when you become a Sirion customer, it's already available to you. And then the third thing is, how does it work? Is it rules-based? Is it the self-learning? How does it work? Well, there's a rules-based engine amongst everybody else. If the word hurricane's in force majeure, that's a force majeure clause. But you know what? At SirionLabs, we'd start to expand on that. Force majeure may also have pandemic, epidemic, shutdowns. And by the way, we start adding those pieces of terminology and it starts to learn, and the definition of that force majeure clause expands as documents continue to go into the system. So when you start hearing about AI, ML, think about those three things. Is it a core functionality? What type of model am I getting? Is it pre-trained already? Do I have to do all of that work? And, does it do any self-learning? And we do all three of those. And I believe the Sirion solution leads the industry today in the artificial intelligence auto extraction area.
The next question is, which stakeholder is ideally suited to lead CLM implementation in a large organization? So either legal, procurement, sales, finance, etc. Well, the answer is it depends. What we find is there are multiple entry points for CLM. Different stakeholders have different priorities. For example, legal professionals are focused on mitigating risk in contracts. Procurement is all about efficiency. Sales cares about reducing red tape and time to contract. IT cares about integrations with current systems and security. The key thing is to make sure your CLM solution can scale into all these areas seamlessly, so you don't end up with multiple point solutions. Looks like that's all we have time for. So thanks everyone for joining. I hope you found today's webinar to be insightful. If you'd like to learn more about Sirion, reach out to us at marketing@SirionLabs.com. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.